Netanyahu now is facing a very big problem with him. And that problem is Smotrich isn't really believing him that much. But he had an urgent meeting with him. Netanyahu called Smotrich for a very urgent meeting to try and convince him. Why? Because Netanyahu is very keen on having a 60-day ceasefire. This is what the reports are saying in Israel. He himself said that there's a very big opportunity. And like I said, he even mentioned the fact that there could be a possibility to end the war, assuming Hamas disarms. But so far, we're talking about at least a confirmation from Benjamin Netanyahu that in essence, he accepts a 60-day ceasefire where Hamas will remain there. So Smotrich, on the other hand, is not satisfied with that report, that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to have ceasefire and Hamas will be there. He's trying to convince him that this area in Gaza will continue to be built. It's not going to stop. So during the 60 days, he will be speaking with the Israeli army. And according to a report that came in the Israeli Broadcasting Authority, he told Bezalel Smotrich, this time the IDF will follow my orders. They will follow my command. Confirming that what? That they don't really follow his command in all times. And that's also very problematic for Benjamin Netanyahu. But Smotrich is seeing that, and he's having these confrontations with the Israeli army inside of the cabinet. They constantly have problems. In the meantime, Witkoff is speaking with the Qatar to end the war, and there is no real significant breakthrough yet, is simply because the Palestinian side is insisting on guarantees to end the war, and also they are not accepting the fact that Israel will have an increased presence inside of the Gaza Strip and that it wants to increase the parameter. And clearly Israel is still insisting on having these humanitarian areas where it will dictate the aid alongside the American mercenaries inside of the Gaza Strip and dictate what goes in and out in a concentration camp, in death trap concentration camps. Okay. What do we understand from all of this? Well, Netanyahu is hurrying and he's trying to rush the progress to get into at least a 60-day ceasefire. He's still not there yet. There's still no break from the Israeli Knesset. The Israeli Knesset will go on a break in several weeks. In the meantime, the reports are saying that the American administration and Donald Trump himself directly are implying immense pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu. Donald Trump constantly says we might see a ceasefire might be declared tomorrow or in a few days, sometime this week or next week. But everyone is saying that there's a lot of pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, and from his actions, clearly he's in a hurry to get something sorted. And he's trying to push his luck up until the last minute with the Palestinian negotiators so that he can actually try and extract something from them. And on the ground, we're seeing the absolute opposite. It's Israel giving the concessions rather than the Palestinian side who's only showing leniency, not any significant concessions to do with the core principles and demands of the Palestinian people, ending the war, withdrawing from Gaza, all of the aid going in, rebuilding, people moving freely. But that's not the whole picture. You see, Benjamin Netanyahu has been facing a problem with orthodox elements in his government, and now the leader of Shas is saying, according to certain leaks in Israel, it's imminent that we're going to withdraw from the government. All of this mediation didn't work. Don't forget, Benjamin Netanyahu went to a war with Iran on the day that there was supposed to be a voting to dissolve the Israeli Knesset, and when there were reports that some of the orthodox elements inside of his government were reluctant to give him another opportunity. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Now, the leader of Shas, Derei, one of the most senior prominent figures in the orthodox elements of Netanyahu's government, is saying that we're going to have to withdraw from the government. We're going to have to take down the government. Why? because the law for conscription that would give the Orthodox community an exemption hasn't passed, and it doesn't look like Benjamin Netanyahu wants to pass this legislation. And if if August comes and the Israeli Knesset goes on a break, you're talking about 2 months where nothing is going to happen. So not only Smotrich is feeling now like Benjamin Netanyahu is deceiving him, the Orthodox elements are feeling like Benjamin Netanyahu is deceiving them as well. Because there are already plans to send the draft orders for at least 40 to 50,000, some reports are saying, or tens of thousands, to the Orthodox community. The Orthodox community already formed resistance groups inside of Israel to confront anyone coming from the IDF trying to force conscription on them, including, by the way, by means that are considered to be illegal. Israel's preparing for that. And he is now saying, this guy from the Orthodox movement, that it's not going to work and we're going to have to take him down. So whilst all of this talk is going on with the ceasefire, Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to shuffle multiple things at the same time. He's trying to reassure Smotrich that, don't worry, the ethnic cleansing plan is still there. The IDF, I know they weren't listening to me the whole time. This time they're definitely going to listen properly. They're going to establish that a humanitarian zone, and we will eventually expel the population. That's number one. Number two, well, the IDF isn't agreeing to this plan. They're outright criticizing the government. As a matter of fact, the leaks of the Palestinian resistance fighters against the Israeli soldiers and more confirmations from the Israeli media about the levels of losses could directly be linked to a requirement from the IDF and leaks from within the IDF to apply pressure on the political leadership and primarily Benjamin Netanyahu to reach a ceasefire by showing the Israeli public that it's not worth it for us to continue this genocide, and we're only losing here. We're not gaining anything against the Palestinian resistance. They're stronger than before, to show a sense of hopelessness in the Israeli community in the military campaign. Therefore, to justify more pressure to reach a ceasefire, applying more pressure on Netanyahu and the elements in his government who want to continue this genocide. And thirdly, the problem that he's facing with the Israeli Orthodox movements, who are now seeing that Benjamin Netanyahu is doing nothing but deceive them, and giving time limits to when they're going to completely withdraw from the government. All of that is part of the reason, or all of these things are elements and reasons for all of these delays, and Benjamin Netanyahu's considerations before confirming anything to do with the ceasefire. Add to that a looming threat now coming from Iran to go into a war with him so long as this continues, or even if he reaches a ceasefire with Gaza at some point. But that threat will add more pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to reach a ceasefire that is still going ahead, but that hasn't been concluded so far.